Our armed forces continue to chase free and terrorist groups in several neighborhoods in Aleppo. Lavrov warns that any interference in the Syrian crisis is totally unacceptable. The American ambassador to Libya and 5 embassy staff are killed in an attack at the American consulate in Benghazi. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our news for today. Our armed forces continued to clear a number of Aleppo neighborhoods from the armed terrorist groups who had wreaked havoc, inflicting on them heavy losses. They eliminated a number of terrorists who were trying to enter Aleppo from Andan, Hreitan, and Qubtan al-Jabal. They killed 4 terrorists who tried to enter Saif al-Dawla and Salah ad-Din neighborhoods. Army units also intercepted terrorist groups near Salah al-Jabiri school in Qadi Askar, killing a large number of them. Our armed forces also targeted a terrorist gathering near the water establishment Al-Uruba Club in Bustan al-Basha, Bildin Square, and Sheikh Faris in Al-Halaq al-Fuqani, inflicting on them heavy losses. An army unit also clashed with an armed terrorist group at Al-Rabia Gallery in a Sikkari neighborhood, killing a large number of terrorists. The security forces also seized weapons and ammunition in 2 terrorist hideouts in Saif al-Dawla and Souq al-Hal in Aleppo, including RPG launchers, PKC, machine guns, and ammunition. An official source said the weapons confiscated included pump-action rifles, RPG launchers, and 2 PKC machine guns, in addition to a large quantity of ammunition and military uniforms. Our armed forces targeted an armed terrorist group that was trying to install a mortar gun between Al-Kabir and al-Saghir squares in Tel Daw village and Homs suburbs in order to assault citizens. The army scored direct hits among the members of the terrorist group and destroyed the gun. Our army units have finished clearing Yelda and Damascus suburbs from the armed terrorists and are chasing fleeing gunmen in Al-Hajera village. The army units had dismantled and detonated 10 explosive devices and mortar shells planted by terrorists around Al-Shafi'i Mosque and Martyr Ismail Akkari School at the residential buildings in Yelda and Damascus suburbs. An official source said each explosive device weighed between 25 and 50 kilograms. The source added that a number of armed men were detained during the operation. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has warned that interference in the crisis in Syria by way of supporting one side at the expense of another is unacceptable. During the ministerial meeting of the Organization of the Interaction and Confidence Building Measures in Asia, Lavrov asserted that the crisis in Syria has become one of the most pressing international issues. Lavrov pointed out that all the foreign players should call on all the Syrian sides to end violence immediately. Lavrov reiterated Russia's strong support for the efforts exerted by the UN envoy to Syria, Al-Akhdar al-Ibrahimi. He pointed out that the Security Council's refusal to condemn the terrorist explosions in Aleppo is regrettable. A similar view was expressed by Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Gennady Gatilov, who affirmed that the West adopts double-standard policy by refusing to condemn the terrorist attacks in Syria. On his page on Twitter, Gatilov pointed out that Western countries blocked a resolution at the UN Security Council which condemns the terrorist operations in Syria, adding that there should not be a contradiction in terms of combating as well as condemning terrorism by the international community. For his part, Iranian Foreign Minister Ali Akbar Salehi said that the countries which are keen to restore security to Syria must pave the way for dialogue between the government and the opposition. Salehi pointed out during the ministerial meeting that those countries should also work to stop violence in the country, calling for putting legal and international documents which prevent attacks on nuclear facilities operating to produce peaceful nuclear energy. Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez affirmed that the Syrian people are victim to a violent colonial policy, asserting that he will assess the Iranian proposal on the inclusion of Venezuela and the contact group to solve the crisis in Syria. Iran proposed that Venezuela, a member of the non-aligned movement, join the coming meetings of the contact group on Syria, which encompasses Egypt, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia, in addition to Iran. The Mufti of the Republic, Dr. Ahmed Badruddin Hassoun, has affirmed that dialogue is the only way to solve the crisis in Syria. During an interview with Russia Today channel, Hassoun pointed out that the Syrian people, land and government are targeted today, calling on those who carry weapons to abandon their arms and get involved in sincere and responsible dialogue that leads to a solution that satisfies all the Syrians. The Mufti voiced appreciation for the Russian stand in support of Syria.
إذا هو يرسل أسلحة ويرسل وسيطور الأسلحة
The Libyan Interior Ministry announced that the U.S. ambassador to Libya and 5 other embassy staff were killed in a rocket attack in the Libyan city of Benghazi. It is to be noted that hundreds of protesters, angered by a U.S. movie that insulted Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, broke into the U.S. consulate building in Benghazi and set it into fire. Meanwhile, Egyptian demonstrators yesterday brought down the American flag of the American embassy in Cairo to protest against a film currently on display in the USA that is abusive to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The demonstrators shouted anti-US slogans denouncing the film and its producers and calling for stopping the film, referring its staff to trial and presenting an official apology to Muslims. With this, we end our news bulletin for today. For more information about Syria and the region, you can visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Up next, the latest business of market news with Vani after the break.